Good morning, folks. Random Todd here. I know this is kind of strange, shooting a video this close to the last video, but and I'll try not to cut the bottom of my face off. But I thought I'd ask your opinion on something. Yesterday, after I had filmed that video and I was at work, during my break, I was on YouTube and I was looking through my subscriptions, and I'm subscribed to this kid. I call him a kid. He's probably in his 20s, mid 20s. Named Fantavision, not WandaVision, Fantavision. And there was a video that says, does the PlayStation 4 have a fatal flaw in it? And it of course piqued my interest. I thought maybe it was clickbait, but this guy usually doesn't throw clickbait up. So I clicked on it and started watching the video, and I haven't really kept up with video game type stuff. I've mainly been watching other stupid stuff on YouTube when I have time, or documentary stuff. I watched some old documentary on Michael Jordan last night, but he goes on to say that the PlayStation 3, they're shutting down all support for the system on the PlayStation Network. So you can no longer access any kind of PlayStation Store or any kind of updates for your hardware or anything like that. They're shutting it down. But evidently it had come to light that the internal battery on the PS3 and also the PS4 has a little bit of a hiccup. Now, whether it was intentional on Sony's part or not remains to be seen, but evidently when this battery goes dead, the little battery that most systems have in it to control the settings and the clock and everything, it can potentially basically lock your system up and brick it. Now, with the PlayStation 3, I guess the issue is that when this happens, since they're shutting down the website now, what you would normally do is swap out that battery and then have to reconnect to the PlayStation Network to reset the clock accordingly to get it to reset the system. And the only way to reset that clock, I guess, correctly is through going to the Sony site. And because they're shutting that down now, there's going to be no way to fix that. So once the system battery goes dead, if you swap it out, supposedly when you start your system back up, it'll no longer let you play any of your digitally downloaded catalog of games, and you can supposedly still play the discs, but you can't play anything that was digitally downloaded at that point. It's just taking up space on your hard drive. The thing is that really concerned me is that he goes on to say with the PlayStation 4, supposedly there's a similar problem, and for now it's still, able to be accessed through the PlayStation site and everything. But when that battery goes, evidently you can't play the digital content or the discs. It basically just bricks the whole system, and you can't do anything unless you put a new battery in it and then connect to the PlayStation Network. So the fear is when that website gets taken down, which inevitably it probably will, that server, a portion of the server, you're basically stuck with any of the PlayStation 4 generation as being, useless. And this is the first I'd heard of this. And I went online and Googled it and looked at some different articles on it and stuff to really read. And it seems like something that's really only come to light in the last couple of weeks. But, people are talking about workarounds already. Maybe if the system, you jailbreak the system, it won't be an issue. Or emulation, might reach a point where you can play those discs and stuff, and it's not going to matter about the hardware because you have software to emulate it. But that's, hard to say because emulation's so slow to progress. And so, I don't know, it got me thinking, what do you do? I mean, you can't really do anything. Even if you buy a brand new PlayStation 4 at this point, they're not in production anymore. So even if you buy the latest version, which would have the most recent, shortest battery life usage in it, it's still, the clock's ticking, and if the clock's ticking, it's just a matter of time before it goes out, and then the system is useless. And the fact that you can't play the discs even, that's one of the reasons why I've always been a stickler about the discs. It's like, well, what if they take down the website and you can't access those games anymore? You can't download them even though you paid for them, which I paid for a few different PS3 games that evidently I will no longer have access to downloading, and it just is really irritating to think that something as basic as a battery can brick the system. It's not because the hardware wore out. It's basically they gave it an arbitrary lifespan to the system based on this battery. And whether they did it intentionally or not, I don't know. But given that fact, how are they liable for it? The Fantavision, the kid went on to say that he thought, it might have been on purpose, just for the simple fact that he feels like they want you to buy the PlayStation 5 because it'll play the PlayStation 4 discs if you have the one that has a disc drive in it, or they're trying to move you toward a subscription-based service where you pay a monthly fee and you have access to all the games. Which wouldn't surprise me at all because everything's doing that. Adobe does it with all their products now are on a subscription-based service, and I don't know. I don't dig that because I use Adobe every day for my job, and it just seems like they're constantly asking you if they can, if you'll take a survey or if you'll do this or if they can access your computer to take a screenshot of your screen and stuff, and it's like, no, I don't know, but that's a different kettle of fish. But it wouldn't surprise me if that's what PlayStation was trying to do, was get some kind of subscription service going to where they can make a monthly fee off of you for these older games. It just pisses me off because I probably dumped, over $1,000 of money into the PS4. I have probably 65 games or so, 70 games, and a lot of those I bought used, so Sony didn't see any money from them anyway, or they were bought secondhand. But I spent a chunk of change, and I've spent, buy 3 controllers at $65, $70 a pop. That's $200, plus the system was $300, plus well, that didn't count toward them, but I had to buy an external hard drive, 3 terabyte hard drive, that was a couple $100. Not counting the digital games that I've paid for, which is a handful. I mean, it's not a lot, but I bought Devil May Cry and Devil May Cry 5 and 4, the definitive edition or whatever, Shadows Awakening. I did buy Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition because it was cheaper to buy the whole thing than it was to buy the DLC packs. And even if you do have the disc, you only got a code with it anyway. They're not actually on the disc, so it really didn't matter if I bought the Game of the Year edition or not. So, I don't know. It bothers me that they would not try to at least come up with a way to patch it, or a workaround, or at least leave up a portion of the server that you can connect to that will default, that'll let you set the time on these old systems, through the PlayStation site, if you can't do anything else, And I guess it's all because it's hooked into the way the trophy system works, and that the PlayStation doesn't allow you to roll the clock ahead or back to gain trophies, because it doesn't. I don't know why it even freaking matters when you get a trophy, but it has something. It all has to do with the trophies, and I could give a shit about the trophies. Really, I don't wear them as a badge of honor. I'm not a completionist. I don't really care about the trophies. I know some people do, but I don't. And because of that, the trophies, to me, if you could just disable them or shut them off to keep the system intact, that would be the best, the best thing for someone like me. But I don't know that that's possible. I don't think it is, actually, because I think the games have the markers built into them for the trophies, and it's going to trip them no matter what if you get one. It just seems like maybe you could put them into a subfolder or something, and it wouldn't affect that timer. But I don't know. I'm not the guy to ask. I just thought I'd like your opinion on whether or not you had heard about this. And if you hadn't, maybe you might want to look up more research on Google or something other than me, because I'm not the authority on it. But what I had read was, and listening to that guy's video, was basically that it's going to brick your PS4 eventually when it happens, and you're not going to be able to access your discs or your downloadable content. And then with the PS3, evidently it's just the downloadable content, but you can still access the discs. I don't know why it's different, but I don't know. And I don't know what the solution will be, because you don't know what the future holds. To me, it makes me think, should I buy an Xbox One then? Because they're not reporting to have this problem, and most of the games that I have, I can get on both systems. Now, there are a couple games that are exclusives to Sony that I don't think I can get on both systems. Well, I know God of War I can, but I don't know if eventually the exclusivity wore off and they made them for the other system or not. I haven't really looked into it. I do know they made Xbox 2 for both, or XCOM 2 for both systems, and that was one that is a big deal to me. I know they made Fallout 4 for both systems, and that one's been a big deal for me. But, you know, it does. It makes me wonder if maybe I should invest in getting an Xbox One because of it, you know. So, anyway, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for coming by. I know that the frequency of the videos might freak you out, and that also, I don't know that this will happen again with regularity, but hopefully it will. I don't know. Depends on if I have something to talk about or not, so. All right, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for coming by again, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.